today, if a consumer, if a potential patient, if a potential customer sees that you're trying too hard, sees that you're going too much into the realm of visibility, if they notice that you as an organization are hyper fixated on getting the word out, on attention, on getting eyeballs, it's a clear indicator to them that you're not able to generate referrals. So they ask themselves, why is that? Why are they so fixated on short-term gains? Why do they need eyeballs so much? Why do they need to push so hard to make something happen? Why don't they have a marketing system on the back end that creates referrals? What's the experience like? Because we've confused marketing, as an industry, we've confused marketing to mean visibility. As an industry, we've focused so much, we've moved away from long-term referrals, sustainability, from providing a fantastic, remarkable experience, and we've shifted that towards new patient acquisition, towards short-term attention, short-term sales, get people in the door, get the phone ringing. And because of this, even the providers have shifted their offerings to where now everything is focused on the short term. And because we do this, the people out there, the prospective patients, are looking at us and saying, why is that? Like, what does that say about your experience, about your ability to retain people? Why don't people stick with you? Why aren't people referring you? And if you can't answer that question, or if you can't fill that gap, then it starts to push people away. And this is happening more and more as we, as a consumer base, have become more averse to advertising, to promotions, to having things shouted at us. All right. So I want to take a look at this concept of our current approach and how the alternative approach, how we can address referrals, how we can bring this into the lens of what we view as marketing. Because right now, how we understand marketing is way too narrow. We only see it as visibility. We only see it as advertising, as promotions. And what I'm going to challenge you to do is to expand what marketing can be, to be where you design your office in a certain way, and not just the interior architecture and things like that, not just the design, but designing the experience, designing what people say, how people are greeted, right? And when we do that, we're able to create something that is better for our intended audience. All right, so let's start with the idea of half-life, because this is a prevalent idea. Everything in the world has half-life. Everything is decaying. Entropy is a real phenomena. And this also exists in the amount of patients that an office has. There is going to be a half-life. So if let's say there's 1,000 people, 1,000 active patients, and I just inject them straight into your office, your practice, which previously had 0. So you start off with 8,000. Just looking at these active patients, not considering referrals, we're going to have a half-life where every month, every year, every couple of years, people are going to drop off. Whether it's through natural causes like death, whether it's through moving away, whether it is because they found a better provider, there is going to be a relatively consistent half-life. That is also there's going to be a half-life. The other aspect of half-lives, the other side of the same token, is a viral coefficient, which means of every individual, how many people will they refer? How many people will they bring in? And for most offices, it's way under 1. If one person, or if the viral coefficient, the amount of referrals, so let's make this clear. So the R coefficient is the symbol that we use for half-life. And for referrals, the viral coefficient, the symbol we'll use is K. All right, so let's say, I'm just going to make up numbers here. So to keep things relatively easy, let's say your R coefficient is or let's say your K coefficient, is 1. So that means for every individual person, they're referring in one extra person. So if you had 1,000 people and you waited for the time span it would take to have this coefficient come true, then you would end up with 2,000. All right, now let's say, not considering half-life, but half-life exists, so let's look at half-life. So let's say R is also 1. So if that's the case, then within the same time span, this would halve. So it would go down to 500. We're not going to do a math equation here, but I think you understand. We need K to be a greater impact onto your business than half-life. We need the viral coefficient to be greater. But the confusion is, and the reason why a lot of people avoid working on referrals, working on viral coefficients, is because it's hard. There is a longer time horizon. It does take more energy. It does take more effort. It is costlier. You're going to have to make some investments in doing the right stuff. You're going to have to align your marketing into a coherent strategy so that people can realize what you're all about and spread the word about you. It's not the easy path. The easy path is visibility. But again, the problem of visibility is people are noticing that you're hyper-fixated on visibility. And you're going to have to continuously be pushing your agenda. You're going to have to be continuously pushing against people who don't want to be pushed. Whereas the other approach is one of power. This goes to Power versus Force by David R. Hawkins. We're not pushing anymore. We're having people come to us, and we're embracing the natural effects of virality, of people who selfishly spread the word because they have something to gain when they spread something good. All right, so we understand this concept. How do we create virality? All right. Virality starts with understanding who we're trying to serve. If I'm trying to get the word out about me, it really helps to understand what kind of people want to hear about me or who I'm trying to be heard to. Because if I can identify who I want to be heard to, then I can design my entire existence, design my business, design everything from the logo to the architecture to the services to the treatments to the way we speak to the types of videos that we make to the content that we push out. We can align all that in service of the person that we choose to serve. And when we do that, when we're able to create alignment to that person, then we can create something truly remarkable versus the other people who have never taken the time to think about how to align themselves. They don't know who they're targeting. They don't know who their existence is for. They haven't put in the commitment to serve one group of people and stick with that group of people. And so their marketing is all over the place. What they say online is for one group. What they actually provide in the office is for another group. How the receptionist greets them is for a different group. And so so that's why it requires so much visibility. It requires a huge top of the funnel. It requires so many people knowing about you just in order to get one person through the door. All right? But when we have alignment, then our marketing, our messaging gets hyper-focused onto one profile, and everyone who fits that profile are attracted. Sure, it's going to polarize and push away the people who aren't attracted to how you design yourself, but that's okay because the number of people who do fit your profile, there's way more than enough of them to sustain you and to help you thrive. All right, so we stop playing the game of non-commitment, the game of I'm going to go out there and try to get everyone to love me. All right, we play the game of I'm going to commit to this one group, I'm going to serve them, and I'm going to make my entire existence about that one group. All right, so that's the first mindset shift that we have to make in order to generate referrals. The next thing we have to do is understand that in that group, in that profile, not everyone's the same. Although we've created a generic or a more specific profile, it's still a bit generic. There's still some distinctions to be made. And one is that there's going to be early adopters. Out of every group, a few are going to be early adopters. A few, most, are going to be mainstream, and a few are going to be late adopters. So let's say this is our early adopter, this is our late adopter, and these two are our mainstream. The early adopter, they're always looking for better. They're not satisfied with the current conditions of things. For some reason, they have more emotional engagement in this field that you're in than other people do. So what's something that you're an early adopter of? What's something that you aren't satisfied with the current conditions of? So your attention, subconsciously or consciously, is always looking for better alternatives. And when you think you see one, it kind of pops out at you. That's how you know you're an early adopter of something. It might be for watches, it might be for fashion. What are you an early adopter of? And then there's mainstream. There's the mainstream of that same profile. There's people who feel satisfied. They're okay with how things are. And they're even more okay because everyone else around them is doing the same thing. Right? They're not so emotionally invested into this one concept. Maybe they're an early adopter in something else, but with this, they're okay. What are some examples of things you are okay with? Things that you're satisfied with? So much satisfied that if someone came and said, hey, you need to change this, you need to do this, that you would just disregard it as spam. Right? That's a big distinction. When we try to market at the mainstream, they're too satisfied. Like, us trying to dissatisfy them is just noise. Us trying to tell them how there's something better out there is just noise. They don't care. Right? It's more costly, it's more dangerous for them to try something new than it is to continue doing what they're already doing. And then finally, the late adopters. The late adopters will only do something because they're forced to. They won't follow the herd. They won't do something just because, even if they know it's better, they're just stuck in their old ways. And they won't change unless they're forced to. Unless the industry shifts and they have no providers left to offer what they wanted. If their old phone dies and it's so old that no one knows how to fix it for them. Right? So that's what's going to cause them. I say all this to say, when we don't understand this, we engage with the market as if everyone were the same. But it's time for us to treat different people differently. It's time for us to understand that late adopters and mainstream, the people who are satisfied, they're not going to be our target. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of money to market at those people. Instead, we focus on the early adopters. We focus on designing an office, an experience that is beneficial for them, for their unique psychology. Because these are the only people who will give you a shot. Right? These are the early, if they have a provider already, these are the ones who are looking for a better one. All right? One powerful reason why in the past, it was so effective to market to new people or to people who recently moved in was because they weren't on this curve. They didn't have a previous provider. They all had to be early adopters. They had to go out and find something. All right, so now once we identify this, we have to differentiate. Because how do early adopters notice better things? Well, it's like any other animal. Like, the mechanism is the same. We notice differences. We notice movements. We notice changes. Right? That's how we work as beings. And so to attract these, we have to become different. We have to differentiate. And we also have lost the art of differentiation in marketing, especially in dentistry. If you look at the alternatives, the competition, the choice people have, everyone is saying the same stuff. Everyone thinks they're differentiating, which is the scary part. Everyone thinks that by saying they're the gentlest, they're the most compassionate, they're the most transparent, they're the most caring, they think they're differentiating, but they really aren't. Differentiation happens when we are different in a way that's meaningful to the people we choose to target, in a way that is meaningful to them, not meaningful to you. You can say you're the best at whatever and whatever, and you really could be. You could have done the most implants, but if they don't care about the quantity of implants you've done, then your differentiation stops mattering. So how we differentiate is we go and we differentiate for a profile. So we try to make an assertion. What is meaningful to these people? We also look at the competition, what's being offered in the marketplace, and we position ourselves in a way that's detached from the competition. All right, once we do that, you have differentiation now. And again, if you want to go in depth into all these concepts, I have a free course. It's completely free. There's no hidden paywalls or anything like that. You just take the course and we'll go much deeper into these exercises so that you can have true differentiation, true referrals for you. All right, anyway, so we go here, differentiate, and they come. They come and check out your practice. Now the question is, did you just differentiate on paper? Did you just differentiate superficially? Did you present yourself as one way when you didn't do the hard work of actually aligning your practice to that differentiation? If so, then they'll come and they'll be disgusted that they've been tricked. Right? Think of dating. It's like being catfished, right? It's like presenting yourself one way on a dating profile. They show up to the date and you look totally different. You're not what you said you were. It would have been better if you never differentiated in the first place. It would have been better if you never met up at all. So when we differentiate superficially, it becomes worse than if we hadn't done it at all. How do we differentiate authentically? We have to align our being, our existence, and by extension, our office, our practice with that way of differentiation. So if I lead with education in my marketing agency, if I say I'm going to differentiate by being the one who educates the most, then I have to start educating. If I tell people, hey, if you join me, you're going to get the most education. They join me, and I give zero education. That's increasing this right here. That's increasing your half-life. Right? When we have authentic alignment, then we start increasing this value. And to get authentic alignment, all right, sorry, I've been talking around in circles, but to get to authentic alignment, we have to identify first the patient journey. What are the series of decisions that they're going to have to make? And this looks like, sorry, this looks like decisions they're going to have to make before they visit your practice. But let's say when they reach here, it's like accepting treatment. What are the different decisions they're going to have to make? We have to understand this first, because once we understand this, then we can figure out what the touch points are. What are the little events, the things that they're going to come in touch with? How are they going to experience our office, your practice, before they make decision 1? All right, before they make decision 2, 3, and so on. Because as we get them closer and closer, it's going to require more and more trust. And how is trust built? It's built on, well, intent and capability. But if we think of like it's built on more frequent interactions. I can interact with your practice once, get an idea for what you're about, but I won't have trust, because you could present yourself as one way, and in the next interaction, it could be totally different. So, consistency and more frequent interactions creates trust. And when we have many frequent interactions, and one of them is out of line, one of them's out of sync, it's still okay, because you've done the work of creating relatively more trust. It's forgiving. But what happens today is people are so out of alignment, they have no direction to build their marketing, build their, architect their entire practice around, that several touch points just keep breaking how they differentiate it. And this is the issue. And because this is so hard to do, because it raises half-life in a bad way, I think that's one of the main reasons we've all shifted to focus so much on visibility. This work is difficult. So now, once you identify touch points, you have to intentionally design them. You have to design them to how you said you would be. If you say you're going to be the most caring, and they're out there waiting for 30 minutes and no one checks up on them, how is that caring? Right? That immediately from the start, you've broken trust. Right? So looking at intentionally writing out what touch points you currently have, figuring out which ones are out of alignment and fixing them, figuring out which ones are the most important to a patient and putting all your resources and attention into making that in complete alignment with how you choose to differentiate, right? So that we have events, we have touch points that are very meaningful to our early adopters, to the point where by the time they reach and complete treatment, they have complete trust with who you say you are. They look around the market and they realize that you're the only provider who provides it in such a way. So therefore, you're truly differentiated. You're the only provider. And if someone wants dentistry done in that way, you're now a necessity. No one else does it because you've done the hard work of aligning it. Right? Everyone else out there is not aligning stuff. Right? They're everywhere, and people they'll come because they say there's something. They'll realize they're just like every other dental office, and they'll leave slightly disappointed. You never hear from them again. Right? But when we're able to do this work, now they go back to their friends, family, their loved ones, people who have a similar belief profile, a similar way of seeing the world, a similar idea of what is good and bad, a similar idea of what they want in dentistry, and they start spreading the word. Right? And it starts with this. It starts with the work of expanding our perspective on what marketing is and realizing that we can design more intentionally. But there's other things we can do. We can add the network effect. We can create things where it becomes better when more people come. So therefore, we give them another selfish reason to go out and share. We can create shared activities. Everyone here, everyone who matches this belief profile, they want something. They want to feel healthier, or they want to feel more beautiful. They want to feel more confident. Whatever it is, we can, not as an office, but as a leader, start to create shared activities for these people, for people who match this profile, for people in your local community who want to feel a certain way, but don't have an outlet to feel that. We can start creating it. And it doesn't have to be something like events sponsored by this office. No, it could be you as a person going out there and creating this stuff so that we create a culture, a group of similar people who do similar things and believe similar things. And one of the beliefs they're going to have is that if they want dentistry done this way, you are the provider. And they're going to bring in more people into this culture, more people who believe the same stuff. They're going to start sharing selflessly, and it becomes its own little engine, its own little viral colony with the same beliefs, with the same actions, with the same behaviors. Right? So that's how we create referral today. Hope this video was helpful. There's a couple of concepts that I really skipped over or that I really didn't go in depth as much as I could have. And for now, it's really conceptual. There were no real exercises that we walked through. So if you want to walk through the exercises, if you want to actually have me show you how to create your touch points, how to do all that, how to differentiate what is meaningful, explain all this stuff, check out our free course, completely free. Yeah, I think you'll like it a lot. Thanks for watching this video.